What is going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Ethan is in the house tonight.
Hello.
As well as Leeroy. Figured since they got
What's
to know
going
each other,
on, folks?
that we would bring them all together under one roof yet again. Hope everyone's doing well. Ethan's coming in 5x5. Looks good. So does Leeroy. Tonight we're talking about how long have you had that shirt, Leeroy? I don't think I've seen you in that one.
Oh, you've seen me in this one. I've had this one for a little bit.
Well, it looks great. We have got a bunch going on. Ethan's going to be doing donations tonight because Olivia is off, but he also is going to help with the first segment of the show and maybe a couple of other ones until we start getting into the heavy stuff. Or he'll just stay the whole time. I don't know.
Honestly, I'll probably do that.
We can't hear you unless you put that mic real close.
I'll probably do that.
Okay, so just stay on. Good to have you. What are we talking about tonight? By the way, share the show, please. Twitter, everybody, let's get it going. Landeskog is a tree. I'll let you be surprised. Elon is a hero, and they are burning it all down anyway. What's new? Liberals don't know how to celebrate heroes. They just know how to propagate criminals and burn everything else down. The Splashdown heard around the world. May have just heard it. We broke it. We got the video. We were watching it live. AOC doesn't know what to say. This is really, truly interesting. You'll watch that video. Bongino has landed like a giant brick on the heads of Democrats. We have a video for that. And a sight to behold, drone art, something cool. Waitress docs and Dylan Mulvaney. Be back in 3 minutes. See you then. Kind of hard to have a JFK show when Pam Bondi and Donald Trump haven't released the 80,000 files like we were promised today, but what's new? That I hear most often, that I always try to help people connect the dots, is what is past is prologue. And although Shakespeare, not my favorite, it's an interesting thing when you look at 1980 and the crack epidemic and what the United States government was involved in with the Contras.
No kidding.
So I don't understand why people are so shocked and they call Roseanne a conspiracy theorist. Because there's evidence in the past of the government getting involved in this, and there's plenty of books on this, and you can read this.
Here's what I think. I love your show, by the way, Matt.
Carrie, if you're not getting notified by Facebook, it's real simple. On the top of my Facebook page, there is a channel. Join the channel. Everyone gets a notification. It sends out 856. In fact, that's to everybody. If you are not a part of that channel group, do it, because if I make a post, I usually pick one post a day to kind of flag in that group, but you need to join that group, and it's guaranteed to give you an invite. Everyone gets it.
Spear and
Thank
watch
you, ma'am.
just
Ma-
discovered you about a week ago.
Ma'am,
And I
ma'am,
went, oh my
no,
God, this
you're,
guy's a genius. The facts he can
oh,
spew,
God, I love you.
you can spew fact, and that's the sign of a genius.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I appreciate you asking me that.
So
And
you just made
I
my
do
life.
remember back when they were bringing the crack cocaine into the black neighborhoods, and that proved that the CIA was doing it
Yes,
because
ma'am.
they were grooming that population, and they've been.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leeroy, Amy, and Olivia.
And Ethan.
Politics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Ethan, Leeroy, and myself will be taking you through this little excursion into truth, justice, and the American way. I don't know. Maybe not. Got some good stuff for you tonight. Whole bunch of stuff. By the way, listen, at this point, Ethan, why don't you bang that louder next time so you really let everybody know. At this point, you can't believe anything Pam Bondi says. You just can't. I don't. You shouldn't. She's hot.
That's fair.
She's smoking hot. Can't trust her. Until she demonstrates a modicum of consistency in her promises and delivers, she's part of the deep state. Prove it otherwise. Show me something different. You didn't release the Epstein files. You promised. You have not released the JFK files. You said the afternoon. It's now 7 o'clock at night. It is the evening, and businesses BAU is done. So I don't trust you, and I think you're a liar. And prove me wrong. I haven't seen one criminal charge. I've seen Dan Bongino come out swinging. I've seen him just absolutely knock it out of the park. What have you done? So this is not the Attorney General we were promised. And honestly, at this point, this isn't the Attorney General that we need. I have been waiting my entire life since 6 years old, well below my son, to see the JFK files. And at this point, I'm not impressed. But I am impressed with this, the new cover of the Don't Unfriend Me Show with Leeroy, Olivia, myself, and Amy, and Ethan should have been there, but he wasn't. So that's too bad. That is our new cover. And I hope you like it because I think it looks cool. Leeroy, how are we doing, buddy? How was your trip home?
You know, I got to tell you, first of all, for everyone who isn't really aware, gotcha. I flew out to Matt's house and we had the most amazing photo shoot ever. I was a guest in the most amazing family that I have been with in a long, long time. Everyone was incredibly gracious, and it was just a really, really fun time. Then, to boot, I got the best photos I have ever taken in my life. And yeah, it was a really, really great time. Trip home was smooth, no issues.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Barry seems to be becoming a friend, and that seems to what happens on the show is people come on the show and we become fast friends with them. And he was rocking the Don't Unfriend Me hat today and sharing us up, down, left, right, and all around. So it feels good, man. It feels good. It was a great time. It was a good time. It was had by all. Ethan, you're totally cool with putting in donations at this point, if you would like to.
Doing that right now.
Thank you, buddy. So listen, I'm not. I told you, folks, I'm going to call balls and strikes. You may not like it. Nobody else is going to tell you about Pam Bondi right now, and nobody else is going to tell you the truth. I'm going to. And I'm going to tell you what I like and what I don't like. And right now, what I don't like is this whole crap of state secrets and got to have the attorneys check it. They just announced $51.99. No words besides you guys are awesome. Love you all. Bobby, thank you so much. But we just got word. My understanding is, at least the rumblings, is that it has been delayed and postponed yet again. And that was just put out last hour that they are not going to release it because the attorneys need to redact it. I will be honest with you. I am, so far, if I was asked how Donald Trump's rating is as president, I would say from an executive order standpoint, he gets an A+++++. But getting the continuing resolution passed and making some changes and cracking some skulls. But as far as his staff listening to him, I'm going to give him a C-. And I think the president of the United States needs to make it very clear that they work for him, and either they shit or get off the pot, or he's going to fire and replace them. I am not okay with the slow amount of deportations. I am not okay with, I love the energy costs are starting to come back in line. I love that eggs are going down. I love that inflation seems to be reaching some positivity, which is to go negative. I'm happy with unemployment. I'm happy with Q2 projections. Once again, Donald Trump's doing everything he can. I am not happy with his people outside of Pete Hegseth, who I think is doing a fantastic job. I really haven't heard shit from RFK. I haven't heard shit from Pam Bondi. I've heard from Dan Bongino, but I haven't heard shit from Kash Patel. I've got some questions. And how are you feeling, Leeroy?
I started doing something
Back
a little
up.
bit earlier today.
Take your mic and move it out to here. Like this far. Cool. Thanks.
I grabbed about 50 different government agencies, and each one of them have a press release that they issue. It either comes either daily or weekly, or whatever the time frame is. And I started going through it, and I noticed that to Matt's point, JFK hasn't done a damn thing. Some of the other agencies have. You're hearing a lot in the news as far as pushback against Donald Trump. There was a Supreme Court judge who just got done trying to basically say, hey, no, you can't necessarily send back all of these MS-13 members right away. And so I think you're seeing a little bit of pushback, which is slowing progress.
And the files just dropped. And the files just dropped. So
did
good.
you get ones?
Yeah, you're late. So it's still 2 hours past the promised time, but good. So they dropped. Now I can feel a little bit better. Sorry, Leeroy, I didn't mean to interrupt, but they literally just dropped.
Huh. That'll be interesting to go through.
Yeah, I got a lot of work to do. I'm going to be busy. But still, it doesn't stop what you were saying. So please go ahead, because I still think there needs to be some critical feedback given to the administration, not Donald Trump, but the people who work for him, to actually do what he says.
Right. And I think to your point, Pam Bondi, being a little bit on the slow roll here, and I'm not sure if that was necessarily her fault, or if we're going to pass this off to the lawyers and to the people who do the actual redacting. I'm not sure. Yeah. And I'd be really curious to know how much of that information is valid, how much of it is usable due to being redacted. So that will be an interesting read.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I already got a document, and my hair on the back of my neck is standing up. They just just the first few pages, it's interesting. And isn't the Democrats slowing things up and the leftist judges? No, because the leftist judges aren't the directors of the FBI, the director of the CIA, Department of Homeland Security, Border Patrol. These are our people. So, no. But it's nice to see that they are out and the release. I've got it. First one that I had, and we're not going to do the JFK tonight. I don't have the time, and I want to go through this properly. I don't think there's 80,000 copies, though. I'll tell you that much. My first reaction is it looks a lot less. It's about 103 PDF documents. So unless these are sub-documents. It's interesting. CIA and internal agency information and memo. Discussion between members of senior division concerning Oswald's stay in Helsinki. 6/1 of 64. Helsinki trip, USSR consulate. Which shows that he was in Helsinki. It's interesting because Helsinki was where several negotiations were going from NATO, and to discussing Russia's involvement in Helsinki was a site in 64. If my memory corrects or recollects, is where there was a very large NATO meeting on the discussion of Russia during that time. It'd be interesting, why is he in a Russian consulate in Helsinki, which just leads us to believe more about his connections to the CIA. So I will offer a little bit of contrition and say it's very nice that these documents are out. Good, finally. But I want to see arrests. I want to see deportations. I want to see what was promised at a faster pace. So real quick, at 0900 this morning, I talked with Frank Freiberg recently. returning from COS Helsinki, Warren Commission inquiry concerning the timetable of Oswald's stay in Finland in October 1959, including his contact with the Soviet consulate there. Just leading to my belief is that he was working in Russia as a possible agent and a double agent from leaving the U.S. into Russia and then reporting back to us. Passenger list, manifest, U.S. consular official time, copy of state's cable inquiry. All of this is interesting. We're going to look at it together probably Friday. The entire show will be about this. 1,123 files, 27 files is what I'm seeing in this stack. It's not enough. We were supposed to get 80,000 files. So once again, information that we were told was going to happen this afternoon, 80,000 files were going to be released, and this looks like a fairly insignificant drop. Biden released 14,000 documents. Leeroy, your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts are always, I don't expect a lot out of these, and I'd be shocked if there was anything, earth-shattering in some of this. I think we covered this a couple of weeks ago when they first announced this, that if anything was going to be released, that it would be heavily redacted, or it would be information that was already, that we already had to some degree. That being said, I'm optimistic. Maybe we'll see something new. I don't know. We got to go through it, I guess.
I don't know, man. A lot of this stuff is classed. So a lot of these are TS and TSI. There are very, very little redactions that I'm seeing. I mean, I have internal memos from the CIA right now. Secret, no foreign. I've got a top secret draft memo from NSC, National Security Council, ICCC, top secret sensitive. There's some compartmentalized stuff. So these are unredacted documents as I see. I want to go ahead and make a correction. It might be 80,000. This document here looks like it's in the hundreds. So if we take the 1,123 subset and times that by, let's just say that there's 100 pages per, you're going to reach your number. So I'm going to have to go through this, and I might be eating some crow. And that's fine. I don't mind. But words were broken. Supposed to be 80,000. We're going to find out if it is. And it was supposed to be this afternoon. And honestly, my opinion is when the president says he's going to do something, they should do whatever it takes to ensure that it's complied with. Ethan, you, like myself, I'm kind of passing the torch on to you about the John F. Kennedy assassination. You've had a chance to watch the movie, and we've had many discussions. What was your thought on the whole assassination JFK movie and some of the things that you saw and you learned about?
Yeah, I think the government did it. I don't like that's because there are so many things like changing the route of where he was supposed to go. And there are probably some other things that I'm forgetting from the movie because I don't have the sharpest memory when it comes to movies and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool when you look into it, but then very scary at the same time. Like, what do you think could happen? Yeah.
I think that's a fair assessment. I think that's why it has so much staying power. Dan Bongino makes a great point about this, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I want to make sure we're broadcasting on all channels. Real slow on Twitter, so if my Twitter peeps could help me out, I'd greatly appreciate it. And it doesn't help when you start going after some of Trump's administration, and people are like, "Oh, well, this guy doesn't care about Trump," and then get disenfranchised. Folks, you're going to get the truth here. We're going to be honest. I'm not saying Pam Bondi is the wrong person for the job. But based on performance, there's nothing that shows me she's the right person for the job. I want to see arrests. The information has been there for years on Epstein. Let's start exposing the people who are trafficking children. Let's start going after the criminals who persecuted Trump and went after him and extended codes, went ahead and took expired cases that fell past the statute of limitations, for increasing misdemeanors to felonies, for deciding to make these cases stop in 2020 because there wasn't enough time before the election to make a difference, and then reapplying them in 2024 just in case he did run, which he did, and would have been successful. I want people to go to jail. What are you doing, Ethan?
Oh,
You're making a lot of noise. Thanks. So I'm tired of waiting. And people are like, well, Matt, it's only been, 45 days. It's too long. Because 45 days turns into a year, and then a year turns into 2, and then what happens? So I want to see some action. Leeroy, any thoughts on this?
No, and I get your expectation for expedience in these kinds of matters. That's what more or less what he ran on. His whole
Jack Harvey.
Hi, Jack.
I need to take this.
Of course you do. No,
Sorry.
I had a feeling. I'm gonna drop you off. Call me back when you can.
Yeah, that's fine.
Bye. So I had a feeling that was going to happen. Leeroy, I'm kicking you off. So had a feeling that was going to happen. So, God, that brings back memories. I just want to see. I want to see some things get in the works. You know what I mean? I've had enough. Ethan, your thoughts on how they treat Trump? I mean, the assassination plots, we should be getting answers on that. We should be getting answers on using the legal system to go after him, wiretapping his election. I mean, you got to see from start to finish this entire election process. You even saw him elected. What are your thoughts on how they treated Trump?
It's horrible. Like all of the sorry if I'm
Okay.
like calling him a Nazi, and everyone says that. Oh,
Ethan, it's okay. Go
my
ahead. Keep
screen
talking.
went black.
It's okay.
And everyone saying that he's like Hitler, and the legal charges, and
Right.
because when they found out that he was running again, they're like dropping this case after.
Right.
And then when they found out that he probably is gonna win, then that's when they just went crazy with the charges, and they're like,
You need to just move the cat down or put her on her pedestal gently. She does this to Mom all the time. And welcome to Distraction Podcast.
Mhm.
So where you have cats and animals and dogs messing around with you. Hey, E, pick her up and put her behind you. Yeah. Grab her. Yeti.
okay, she went got down.
Being a shit. All right, buddy. So here's the thing, right? One of the reasons why you came on and I wanted to have you on. And folks, we're getting throttled pretty hard right now. If you have not had a chance to share, please do. It's always tough. Hey, E.
Yeah.
Banging on the table is really loud. So
Sorry.
can you? Yeah, appreciate it. So, E, tell everyone who Gabe Landeskog is.
He is one of the best hockey players bandwagon. But he is the Colorado Avalanche captain who has had a knee injury since 2022, the playoffs. So around June of 2022. So he's been out for almost 3 years now, and he is possibly coming back for the playoffs.
Well, let's not expose the lead. Let's bury the lead a little bit.
Yeah. So he's the Colorado Avalanche captain and one of my favorite players. So
Gabe is probably one of the most respected captains, and this isn't a sports show, but it's the story, right? And it is in a very emotional and moving story, because we've watched this very, very closely, and we've made sure that we've stayed in touch with it, and we care very much about hockey. But the story is quite touching. Here is a video which kind of explains the story, so you guys can understand. And we'll kind of most often. Sorry about that. We'll put some things in perspective with this, and you can tell us what you think. Here is the video. I got to drop. Leeroy's going to be off for a while. I'm just letting everybody know. I could tell by the phone that he's off. E?
Yep.
You're going to have to sit up just a little bit, son. There you go. You're good. That's good. And we'll pick up your spot and do this. I don't think Leeroy's coming back tonight. I know the tone. I know the sound of the phone. And you usually don't put people on voice unless you want to make sure you understand where the phone call is coming from and who it is. Here's the video. Give this a watch, and so you can understand the story.
Does this story begin?
How did we get here?
Complete freak accident.
Potentially that could be a cut on the right leg.
Slices my quad like it's a...
I never saw that.
So this was against the Dallas Stars, and we wound up leaving the Dallas Stars and we're out. And this cut, the skate comes across and cuts him right above his knee into his quad and severs the ligament.
My quad like it's a warm knife through butter.
That's a real cause for concern.
Never had my leg cut before by a skate, but it felt like it wasn't just superficial cut. August, September of 2021, you know, the cut itself had healed. The knee really starts to bother me now. It just becomes something that has to be managed through that entire first half of that season. You're good enough to play, you're good enough to play. It's the way.
So this happened early in the season. Now, the Avs went and won the Stanley Cup, and he had a choice. Do I continue or do I sit it out? Because if he gets surgery, he's done for the year. And Gabe decided to fight through it. But this fighting through it did irreconcilable damage.
But we won the cup.
We did win the cup, but he had one surgery, was supposed to come back in 2023-24 season, and couldn't. In fact, he couldn't even skate. And only 2 players have had this surgery. One is Alonzo Ball, who is a basketball player, who is successful, and him and Gabriel Landeskog, have become close friends. But it's a very, first of all, I mean, just to be an Olympic or Olympic style athlete, which is what these guys are, they're all incredible athletes. This type of injury, you just don't recover from. So the fact that it's hockey, which is 10 times more taxing than basketball or anything else, the chances of him coming back were slim to none. In fact, I believe the odds were something less than 1%. So this is the story from here.
It is. You fast forward, start realizing, well, we are in the Stanley Cup Finals now. That a whole day, it's going in slow motion.
3 seconds! 2 seconds! 1 second!
The buzzer finally sounds. Pandemonium just ensues.
It's over! They did it! The Colorado Avalanche are Stanley Cup champions!
All of a sudden, the partying kind of stops. Reality sets in. My knee's messed up. But I never connected the 2 dots that was related to the cut. Anxiety starts setting in.
Avalanche captain Gabriel Landeskog needing more surgery.
Your head hits that pillow at night. You're left with some pretty deep, dark questions.
I think that's why the injury was so hard for him, because he's only really ever identified as a hockey player.
Peter, do they love and admire Gabe Landeskog? Oh my God.
Okay, so Gabe Landeskog, he's a first rounder, youngest captain in the league at the time. He has an Olympic medal, but this surgery, will we ever see him play again?
I'm a 30-year-old pro athlete, but I can't chase my kids. Nobody has come back from this surgery in this sport and had a successful, productive career. My mind is unraveling.
So it's interesting because, first of all, the connection to the Colorado Avalanche for us goes well beyond being sports fans. I've known players on the team personally. I've played with players on the team, and Olivia and I followed them. I've been following them for 30 plus years, actually, because I followed the Quebec Nordiques. And Ethan is an avid Avalanche fan and loves Colorado sports teams. Well, because Dad does, I'm assuming. But also because he's found his own. He's a huge Denver Broncos fan, and I'm not the biggest Denver Broncos fan. So
we're going for the Super Bowl this year.
Well, we'll see about that. But you did make some really strong signings. And anyway, I think the reason I bring this story is because there is an emotional connection. Colorado Avalanche in 30 years have had 2 captains, Joe Sakic and Gabriel Landeskog. The captaincy has been left open for 3 years, and this team has not given up on this guy. And we have watched his progress, and let me tell you, it's been painful. We've had hope after hope that he's going to come back and start skating, and it hasn't been good. Here was one of his first times on the ice. showing you that is incredible because what he's doing now is unbelievable. And over 3 years, it's been nothing but setbacks. On the ice, out for 3 months. Back on the ice, out for 3 months. Back on the ice, 6 months. And he's never truly been able to come back in any productive way. And he's just one of the nicest guys in the world. I mean, there's nobody has a bad thing to say about Gabe Landeskog. He's just a good dude. And then this is him today. Well, we got this video yesterday. To let you know, to go to center to top of the red circle in less than 2.5 seconds, that's full speed. What he just did there, I will let you know, is incredibly stressful on both knees and the ligament. And his surgery essentially had to create a fake ligament to attach the quad and the something, I don't know, the muscles in the knee. And for him to do that is incredible. So, Ethan, we got news this morning about what? That he is doing what with the team? Did you hear?
No.
He's traveling with the team. And he is skating on morning skates with the team.
Yay.
So what that means is that he is coming back. And more than likely for the playoffs. And this will be his last ride. And I don't expect him to come back from this. I think he knows that this is the last hurrah for his knee. He wants to make this run. I know he's still in pain. I can tell by the way he's skating, even though he's at 95%. It's not good enough for the NHL, but it's good enough for a third or fourth line spot and work in the power play. But it's important to me to talk about perseverance and talk about somebody who made a commitment that if anyone could do this, and the reason I truly bring it up is there's a gentleman named Peter McNabb. You remember who that is, right?
Yeah. Peter
McNabb was a Boston Bruin and a great player, but also a commentator for the Colorado Avalanche for 30 years. And he died of cancer. And he got to see Landeskog raise the cup, and he was the first interview of Landy when he did. And I think Pete knew that Landy was done, at least based on that. And when he died, said, if anyone can do it, it's him. And it's very emotional to see him come back and skate. So if this is his last hurrah, and I would love for him to exceed my expectations once again, come back in the playoffs, skate throughout all, win the Stanley Cup, and come back next year and be on a line. But I don't foresee that happening. But the thing is that even as a third and fourth liner, this guy was once one of the top 5 in the NHL as far as two-way centers and power forwards. And he was an all-star and incredible. And for him to say, I'm willing to play on the fourth line or the third line is just a real special thing. Olivia, you should be here. It's your fault, not mine.
Wait, what?
Mom's mad because we're talking about Landy. She's very pissed. So I just thought it was a beautiful thing. And I thought I would share it with you. And I thought it was pretty. Sitting in my car waiting for Hayden to get out of play practice. She's mad. So it's just a special story. Ethan, anything you want to say about that and add to it? And I know you wanted to be on, so I'll give it over to you.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Like, I knew that I thought he like broke it or something, but I didn't know that it got slashed. Like, I'm just like,
yeah. Can you imagine?
Like, I've heard some like brutal skate cuts. Like, there was one guy, I think like Islanders, cut across the chest.
Yep.
There's a Boston Bruins goalie.
Swafford.
Yeah. You could
got
just
cut
by
in the
that.
jugular.
Yeah. Didn't want to go into the details. But yeah, and they've all came back and I'm like, I did not know that he got slashed. I'm like, oh my God, I did not know this.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. And I believe that he knows it's been 3 years. It's either now or ever. He can't go another year.
If he doesn't come back this season, I think he's just gonna retire.
He has to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know you didn't know that, Liv. He's traveling with the team. Good. I'm so glad you're not mad. He's traveling with a team, and they expect him to be in the playoffs.
Are you talking to Mom right now?
Yeah, she's in chat.
Oh.
If you had
Hi,
Facebook open, you would see
Mom.
it. So here, I'll add it to broadcast. She's watching on YouTube. See? I'm not mad.
Hi.
I'm stoked to hear he is traveling with a team. So traveling with a team is the fact that he is traveling, they can't put him on the roster because they'll go over the cap. So they're going to hold on to it. But the fact that he's traveling is pretty incredible. So anyway, I hope you guys appreciate that just a little bit at least. And just figured we would show it to you. It's something very, very cool and it talks about perseverance. We've got plenty of other things to talk about. We are officially moving into different segments of the show, but I wanted to tell you first before you guys do, we have a fantastic store over at thedumbshow.com. And you guys can pick up shirts and hats and stuff. Nothing you see here on the show tonight. Thank you for the downvote. Go fuck yourself. Just kidding. Sorry for the language. Someone has fat fingers. Go fix it. But we have a great store you can go to at thedumbshow.com. We also cover current events and topics. And if you have not had a chance to like The Dumb Show, please do. Ethan, tell them about the donation goal since you're taking control of it tonight.
Okay.
Oh,
goal.
Boy. All right.
300. 17% the way deal. Bobby Richardson with a big dono with $51.99. Pretty slow so far. So if you could go to the don'tunfriendmeshow.com/donate, you can.
You got to say the URL properly. They're going to go to the Don't Unfriend Me show, and it's not going to be there. You got to say see the thing. You can read it. It's right in front of you.
thedumbshow.com/donate.
Attaboy.
I'm genius.
You are. You're killing some.
I'm big brain.
You're doing.
And then the shop. We have a bunch of items. We have hats, we have clothes, we have shirts, we have
Why aren't we on Rumble? I don't know. Let me find out. Because I don't have my wife here, and you're the first person to tell me we're not on Rumble.
We don't have we have
We're on Rumble. What are you talking about?
We have jackets.
Hold on a second, dude.
Oops, sorry.
Stop selling for a second. We're on Rumble. We're right there. See? Wave. It'll be there in a second. We're on Rumble, folks. I don't know what you mean. We're there. See? There we're waving.
Yeah.
Yep, that's us.
Oh my gosh, it's a loop.
I know. So, all right. So go to the Don't Unfriend Me show. Go to thedumbshow.com. You can donate
And
through
then
PayPal.
one more thing. Everybody, right now, go to the store and buy Ash Kicker.
Yes, the Ash Kicker shirt is available, but we'll talk about. You don't need to tell people what to buy. Let them do what they want to do. We get, I appreciate your salesmanship, but my God, we don't need to force them to buy the Ash shirt. But if you want to go buy the Ash shirt, it's available. Leeroy's back in the house now. I got to adjust all the cells, so this will take a second, and then we can get started. Okay, so we were talking about Gabe Landeskog, Colorado Avalanche, and he tore his knee, and it's been a 3-year road to recovery, and it's just an amazing story. It's the second person to receive this surgery. It looks like he's going to play in the playoffs, and he's now skating with the team. He's traveling with the team. These are great things, and the guy is just all about perseverance. So it's just kind of a beautiful story. I wanted people to understand, kind of what it takes nowadays, because we hear all these negative things about sports stars, and we very seldom hear the positive. I'm going to go ahead and put Leeroy back in here. 1 second.
Sorry about that, folks.
You shouldn't be. Go ahead and don't adjust your mic, but go ahead and talk one more time.
Check 1, 2. How do I sound?
You're pretty low. Go ahead and bring your mic closer to your mouth this time.
Try to get any better. Sorry.
Yeah, you're breaking. One more. Try it again.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Okay.
Don't touch it because it seems to fluctuate. All right. So Elon Musk. As we know, Elon Musk was a hero of the left. And honestly, the right didn't dislike him. I never heard one negative word about Elon Musk when he was pushing out EV cars. A lot of us talked shit and said that these cars were useless and not important and we didn't need them and didn't buy them. But did you ever hear anyone talking trash about Elon Musk, Leeroy?
No, never.
Yeah, not once. So now that Elon Musk has come out, just like always, the left do what they always do, which is destroy and try to ruin anyone who disagrees with them. That's their MO. But when it comes to people who were once Democrats, they have a special level of hate and disdain for that person where they don't want to see that person fail. They want to see that person die. And I'm telling you, we saw this with Donald Trump. They want him dead. They don't want him. I can't tell you how many people, the subtle innuendos during the assassination attempts that I heard in regards to, oh, I wish the guy was a better shot, or, hey, wait till we're done talking, buddy.
Oh, sorry.
Matt Howen, it's 2110. Ethan, you are slaying it. Keep it up, buddy. Thank you, Maddie. We appreciate you, bud. So, saying they wish he was a better shot, they wish he would have died during COVID. The reason why the Don't Unfriend Me show started was our friends and family made comments that they wish that Melania and Donald would die so Barron could be raised by people who weren't crazy. So these things are out there. But hold on a second. So Elon Musk is also a person they're targeting now. They want his company destroyed. They're celebrating that his stock is taking a hit. They're burning down his dealerships. They just closed the Manhattan dealership permanently because he can't literally operate and do business because these leftist crazy people are trying to ruin him. Here are a couple photos just to show this, and then we can get into opinions about this. I just want to make sure everyone is aware of what's going on. These are the charging stations. What's funny is it represents 6 of them. I think Biden's department got for almost $9 million, about that many out from the infrastructure bill. But glasses that are taking bullets by drive-by shootings and throwing rocks to spray painting all the vehicles, doing hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage to these vehicles, lighting them on fire, burning them to the ground. I've got a video to show you here. This happened early in the morning. People threw Molotov cocktails. A guy burned himself up and actually lit himself on fire in North Carolina. That is a lithium-ion battery going cataclysmic. Just to show you, watch the battery. That is extremely dangerous. The fumes are absolutely toxic. This shit's horrible, but they don't care because this isn't burning the environment. This is just good politics. This is just stopping Nazis from selling cars. Here's another one. We got one more video to show you, and then we can talk about this. Trans rights are human rights, spray painting. It's amazing that if you have less than 1% of the population that are transgender, it wouldn't be that hard to find who did all this if it's all talking about trans rights and showing you the odds of somebody doing this level of decimation. Here's the problem that I have, and I saw this earlier today. These are the Doge Quest. They publish the names and address and phone numbers of Tesla owners across the United States with an interactive map and a Molotov cocktail cursor. Claims it will only remove personal data if owners prove they've sold their Teslas, in an apparent backlash to Elon's ties. It comes at Tesla's dealership face gunfire, arson attempts, and Cybertrucks, like I said. So they're now releasing people's personal private information and telling people to go and attack and harm these people. People wonder why I up my security and have a firearm on every single floor. But these rules are here on this site stating what it's going to take. Here is a gentleman who had some things to say about this.
It's a white Tesla. No, it's...
Listen to this. And I can't tell you, there are hundreds of cases of people throwing soda cans and rocks while they're driving. People come up and slapping Nazi stickers on every Tesla during a parked red light, slashing tires, keying cars. And this isn't one or two things. We're talking thousands upon thousands of these things. And the funny thing is, if you look at the ownership of these people, most of them are Democrats because they have purchased these Tesla vehicles and are driving them, and conservatives aren't really purchasing them yet because we were just starting to get into that and saying, well, let's support the guy. I'll be honest with you, I never wanted a Tesla at all. Now I do, not because I want one, just to support this guy. Listen to this video.
I'm saying is it's a white Tesla. No. This is what happened to my car, y'all. Look at this. Look at this.
Looks like you and your sister got a hold of that thing with some crayons, E. Where were you the other night? That's what I thought.
Y'all see this? clown American. I don't know what this is. Is this paint? War. Bro, somebody destroyed my car. Destroyed my car while I was taking you out to the doctor. Destroyed my car. This is no cap. Look at this. All on my windshield. All right in this. Look at this. My car is destroyed.
Leeroy, I know you wanted to say something. I know you wanted to chime in. I apologize for the wait, but I wanted to make sure people understood the full impact because this isn't a one-off. There are tens of thousands of these cases, and this is what the left does. And it doesn't matter what color you are. This is their MO. Go ahead, Leeroy, and then Ethan, we'll let you chime in.
So a couple minutes ago, you were talking about how, a couple of years ago, everyone was in support of Elon. And, now things are completely different. And really the same story kind of applies to Trump. You go back 15, 20 years ago, he was showing up on The View and everything else. I was watching something you had said about, it's one thing to watch or want a company to fail, or to want someone to maybe not do so well. I don't know. And it's something else completely to want literal violence for somebody to die. And I only say that because you had mentioned it. And it was just last week. It was like right when I came home, there was a video that was circulating around of a teacher basically saying, I can't do it. I know one of you has to. I can't do it because I'm a teacher, but someone out there knows what needs to be done. And obviously the implication was, another attempt. And so to your point, it's like the only thing that the left would be content with is more violence and more attempted attempts on the president's life. Whereas I don't think anybody in the right really wants that. We want everyone to do well, right? I don't want anybody to fail. I certainly don't want the country to fail or for the president to fail. I didn't want that under Biden. I didn't want it under Obama. It's just that, they were doing it by themselves. So that kind of clarifies some philosophical thoughts. In terms of what's happening to Elon, poor guy, right? 4 or 5 years ago, he was a darling of the left because he was out saving the planet and he was going to, invent all of these new technologies, which would impact everybody's lives. And surely enough, they have, right? When you talk about Gigafactory or Tesla or the implant thing, the Neuralink. And now, even just having his name associated with anything that is of that level, technologically advanced, something that he had been working on, it's enough to get that person labeled a Nazi. That poor gentleman with the white Tesla, that's somebody's personal property. Who do you think you're influencing with that? Do you think that you're unifying the country, or are you just putting a bigger wedge between the people who are now considered moderates and you crazy leftist lunatics? This is nuts.
None of your problems that you have are because of billionaires.
Exactly.
And that's the truth. It's just none of your problems are because of billionaires. It's in spite of them.
You hate them, but that doesn't solve anything.
Right.
You just hate people with money. Right.
If it wasn't for billionaires, you would take a look at the stock market. You would take a look at the jobs. You would take a look at commodities. You would take a look at price indexes. You would take a look at wages. These people provide the jobs in the United States, and having 49% of able-bodied taxpayers actually pay taxes. Without billionaires, that goes down even lower. Which the government doesn't make anything, folks. That's the crux. Ethan, your thoughts the way they're treating Elon? A little bit of reaction. We're going to talk about it later about the saving the astronauts. It's something Joe Biden couldn't do. Elon Musk did it in 45 days, did it well, has done it 220 times before. And I talked about it last night. I said he's going to bring him home, and he did. Your thoughts on this, E, about how they're treating him?
It's horrible. Like, he's a genius, and people are like boning the Teslas and saying that he's horrible, and also calling him a Nazi and stuff like that, because he just, you can speak to President Trump and people will like hate you for no reason. You can high five him, you can say hi, or you can say I like that guy without even meeting him, and people like and basic, like you guys have been saying how they were all like, he's gonna save the world, he's helping the environment.
Right.
Now they have him as he's killing the planet.
Right.
And like
he's Hitler. Literally Hitler. For wanting to decrease the size of the government. And the last time I checked, there wasn't a Nazi on the planet who wanted to decrease the authority and power of the US government.
It's just stupid.
So there was a time that we would celebrate him as a national hero. Like astronauts stuck in space, we saw this with Apollo 13. America was on pause.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw this with the Challenger, with Krista McAuliffe and the other astronauts during the Challenger explosion, and how the entire world was on pause.
Yeah.
And there, I hate to say it, but I truly believe a very large portion of leftists were hoping that these astronauts would die in a fiery ball so they could disgrace Elon Musk.
I believe
because
that.
There's nothing to contradict that thought of having any faith in these people based upon the way that they have been processing Tren de Aragua, how they have been completely ineffectual at holding people accountable for the 13 dead in Afghanistan and the Biden administration, for the way that they burned down and tore up cities with $2.5 billion in damage, the way that they hoped and prayed that Donald Trump would fail and get us in a recession, the way the celebrities talked about bombing and killing and assassinating him. Is there anything that shows us the way that they idolize criminals? George Floyd is a criminal. No matter what you want to say about Derek Chauvin and the arrest and how he handled him, that's fine. They don't have to be mutually exclusively wrong, but they make statues to him. They treat him like he's a Malcolm X or a Martin Luther King. Is there any hope for this party to survive, or has it gone completely to the Maoist and Saul Alinsky ideology of just the only thing that they ever will be is against the GOP and Donald Trump, and that is their platform now? It is just to run roughshod against the GOP. Leeroy, is there any hope?
No. I think you've hit it pretty well on the head. There's no redemption in the left's steps. Something you had just mentioned, like the potential that costs could go up or down. If the costs go down, they don't acknowledge it at all. It's just something that is just blown under the rug, right? But if the costs go up, and it's almost like they're encouraging that. Oh, look, this went up by 5 cents, or eggs are up by another quarter, right? They're more than willing to say, to try and pin that on Trump, which is something else that we were just talking about. Like, they want Trump to fail. And something that I have constantly put out there, I heard Jordan Peterson say this once, and it was one of those brilliant things I had ever heard, was that hate for the rich is not the same as love for the poor. And if you really, truly care about the poor people, right, you wouldn't celebrate the elevation of costs. You would acknowledge it when costs come down and give your stamp of approval on that. But they don't do that. So everything that they have done is all indicated. It's all pointed towards a hate for the rich.
I think the Jordan Peterson quote is fairly palpable and can probably also go and say a very similar thing, is that when people say they're against Zionism, it's still just a cover for hating Jews. And I love the saying by Peterson is because it shows that just because you're against something doesn't mean you are a supporter of something else. It's kind of like the friend of my enemy, or the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That is sort of true. But when it comes to this, if you hate Elon Musk, the only reason you hate Elon Musk is because you're being told to hate Elon Musk. Because when you were told to love him, you loved him. When you were told to buy from him, you bought from him. Now that you're being told to burn his things down and hate him and make fun of his Asperger's and question him and make fun of how many children he has, you're doing so. You're literally an automaton.
Yep.
You are a cyborg on a hive mind collective, and you offer no value. It's really hard for me to debate liberals, because there was this one liberal that I've been engaging with for the last 3 weeks who was on my show, and the guy kept coming and coming. I kept showing him, and he would not relent. He would just straw man and change the argument. I finally told him, I said, bro, if you argue with this, I'm going to ban you. And it's not because you're good. It's not because you're a great troll. It's because I literally can't stand reading what you write anymore, because it no longer interests me. I just am hoping that there could be a fragment, a scintilla of hope in what you write, and I constantly keep getting disappointed. So those people just need to go, because I'm not going to keep them in my life. Ethan, I'm sure you have a donation to put in or something, do you?
Yep.
Go ahead and knock that out, buddy. Any day now. What's happening, bud? What's wrong, Ethan?
I don't know. I pressed add or tip and...
Wait a second. Maybe the window closed. Hold on. It could be me. Hold on. Hey, Liv. Ethan needs help. So, Ethan, I'm going to go ahead and keep going, and you ask your mom for help. You did nothing wrong. It was me. He put in a tip. It needs to be taken out, re-put back in. And it needs to be redisplayed. Okay, so also, somebody just ordered a hoodie, and I want to say thank you to them. Go ahead and move your mic away so they can't hear you. Dumb Nation, the Skull hoodie was ordered by Joanne Thomas, and congratulations. I'll get that shipped after the show and get that put together. We'll be right back. We got some good stuff to show you. Take a listen.
The Dumb Show is built on real conversations, raw, unfiltered, and fearless. Big Tech didn't like that. Facebook pulled our funding, tried to shut us down. But for over a year, you, our incredible viewers, have kept us going. Your support, your donations, your time, it all matters. Most of you spend 10 plus hours a week with us. Compare that to Netflix, maybe 5 hours a month. We believe we're worth that time, and we hope you do too. But listen, we don't want giving to feel like a burden. We want it to feel good. So take a second to ensure you're in a good spot. If you're in a place to give, that will be amazing. If not, just liking and sharing helps more than you know.
Kevster donating $10.80. Next time we should do it on a video
Whether
list.
it's PayPal, Venmo, or
audio
mail,
right now.
every bit helps to keep us going. Dumb Nation, we appreciate you more than words can say.
Kevster, thanks, buddy. $10.80. We appreciate you. I just wanted to play one more thing by Maxine Waters. It is a 10-second audio clip.
What does Trump expect?
And we expect to hear from this wicked crow. Here she is saying about commenting on Elon Musk.
What does Trump expect? Oh, I believe he expects violence. I believe he expects confrontation. I believe he's working toward a civil war. What does Trump expect?
So it's interesting that he's working towards a civil war, but conservatives aren't doing anything warlike. You know, Democrats always talk about
cars on fire. That's for sure.
Right. They always talk about the what if, right? Like, oh, what is Trump going to do next? Or what's going to happen tomorrow? Or what's going to happen next week? But they don't talk about the now. Donald Trump is deporting Trende Aragua, a vicious biogang that decapitates children, rapes women, that tattoos their body with the crimes and felonies that they commit. So instead of saying he's doing what he promised to do, which is to get these people out, no, they're saying he's going to use it against you. He's going to use it against Venezuelans. He's going to use it against moms and daughters. And he's going to ruin democracy. He's going to go ahead and cut Social Security and health care. It's always about fear about what he's going to do versus actually talking and arguing on the points of if what he is doing is good or bad in the now. But what's funny is it never pans out. These things never happen. They've never happened. He's never removed anyone's rights. He didn't ban abortion. He didn't ban books. He didn't remove rights for the LGBTQ community. He didn't do any of these things. He didn't overthrow. He wasn't a dictator on day one. He didn't steal an election. He's done everything he has promised, and you guys just can't stand it. Hey, Leeroy, do you remember this guy that I had on? His name was Misfit Patriot. I think when you see him, you'll probably know him. Yeah, and I hit him a little bit. I hit him just a bit. And not because, I can disagree with you, even if you're a patriot or even if you're a Republican or Democrat or somewhere in between. But I want you to listen to this and tell me what you think, buddy. Okay. And Ethan, you listen to it too. You'll put the tip in a second. Okay, buddy?
Okay.
All right, listen to this. There is some language in this, but it's a very good message.
Okay, I've made several videos like this over the past year and a half, so let's do another one. If you're anti-Zionist, you can go fuck yourself. Yeah, that's right. If you say, I'm not anti-Semitic, I'm not anti-Jew, I'm anti-Zionist, eat every dick until the end of time and then eat some more in hell. Because guess what? I'm a Zionist. I believe that the Jews have a right to live in peace in their ancestral homeland. And that's what Zionism is. So when you say I'm anti-Zionist, you say I'm anti-misfit. And if you're anti-misfit, get fucked. Yeah, I'm an American patriot and Christian Zionist, and yes, you can be both. Because I read the Bible, and I love my country. See, I'm not going to fucking sugarcoat this one bit. If we are friends, if we have mutuals, if we voted the same way, if you consider yourself on the same side, if you're MAGA, whatever, it doesn't fucking matter to me. You're a huge piece of shit, and you can get fucked. You see, I'm not down with espousing the ideals of Adolf Hitler. I'm sorry, I'm not. And if you don't think that that's what you're doing, you're fucking retarded, because yes, you are. 95% of fucking Jews are Zionists. If you hate 95% of anything, you hate that thing. There are 16 million fucking Jews out there, and let's say 800,000 of them agree with you. You might as well be saying, I'm not racist, I got a black friend. You're a fucking moron. Do you realize that the people that you are aligning with, you make excuses for the innocent Palestinians and the evil Zionists that are creating a fucking genocide, even though you guys don't ever fucking talk about another fucking genocide ever! You care more about the USS Liberty, a friendly fire incident in the fucking, 60-something fucking years ago? No, that's more important than the fucking Christians being slaughtered in the Congo by radical Islamic terrorists. Over 67,000 terrorist attacks under the fucking name of Islam in the past 50 years. And you guys think that the 0.2% of the fucking population is the problem. Again, you're fucking retarded. And if you hate me because I'm a Zionist, I'll hate you right back, motherfucker. This is the fucking hill I will die on. I will fight for them, and I will fight you for them, because nobody else will. They don't have anybody else. They got me, motherfucker, and I'm a fucking enemy you don't want.
Sorry. Not like you haven't heard that before.
I live with you, so.
Oh, funny.
Ew.
So, Ethan,
yeah.
Minus all the curse words, which you've been taught that the vernacular, when you come of age, you can speak in colorful metaphors if you want to, as long as you can go ahead and articulate yourself in the other fashion. What do you think about what he said?
I don't know, honestly. He was going really fast. And I'm
All
like,
right, so let me give you
going
the recap. What he's basically saying is that if you don't, Zionism essentially is the advocation for Jews to have a sovereign country and to have borders and to live in peace and harmony. That's their goal. That's Zionism. You believe that the Jews have a right to a free state, that they have a right to live, they have a right to protect their borders, right to protect their land, and to remain unaccosted, which means attacked or harmed. Fair enough?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, you've heard a lot about Jewish people. You've heard a lot about I have not exposed you to a lot of the things that happened under Adolf Hitler, but any comments on this that you have right now based upon me explaining it to you? Do you see any reason why the Jews should not have their own country and their own border and their own sovereignty?
No, they deserve it. Like, they are people. And just like how we have our own country, they should have theirs. Like, sorry.
You're fine.
Just because you may not like them doesn't mean that they can't have freedom. Oh no, you don't like a person, you don't like like their religion, you don't like someone who's Jewish. Too bad. Let them be. Maybe they don't like you. So I'm just saying, leave them alone.
So is this something that you hear in school? Do you hear kids talk about Jews? And
no,
you've never heard anything negative?
No.
Okay, Leeroy, your thoughts on the video, because I know you've got them.
I absolutely adore that guy's thought process on this topic. I would like to get to know him a little bit better. While he was going off on that, and I absolutely loved it. Something that reminded me, the moment he brought up the Nazis, we have heard that term so much lately.
Yeah.
And every time we hear it, it comes from a particular demographic, particular group, right? The Democrats mostly, the left mostly, all pointed towards Trump, all pointed towards Elon. And each and every time I hear that, the first thing that I think of is, well, Joe Biden hung Benjamin Netanyahu out to dry, whereas Trump has embraced that relationship and basically said, we're here for you. So when we're talking about an absolute hatred for the Jews, this anti-Semitic movement, right? But then you try to label Trump as a Nazi, you're going to have to connect those dots for me because you're not making a lot of sense, which is how I know anti-Semitism, in fact, comes from the left. Most of the hate pointed towards any group, pointed towards anybody, really comes from the left. Whether or not we're talking about the Jews or Trump or Elon Musk or any of those groups, generally speaking, that level of hatred and vitriol comes from the left.
And the interesting thing is, a lot of people want to very quickly say, oh, it also comes from the right, because a lot of the alt-right has a problem with the Jews. And you're absolutely right. People like Candace Owens and Jake Shields and Sue Peters, these are people who claim to be Republicans. They're not.
They're not.
Because fascism isn't a part of the Republican belief and platform. And when you take, we've said this many, many times, when you look at the political spectrum, is that everyone says the left is socialist and the right, farthest right, is fascist. But honestly, fascism and socialism are closer together than Republicans and fascism, or leftists and or liberals and socialism are close together. They are on the opposite ends of the spectrum. In fact, Republicans and Democrats are moderately close together. Even liberals and conservatives, way more than fascists and socialism are closer to one side or other of the party. This conversation for me, I'm going to extend it, but I'm going to let Ethan go. Ethan, thank you, buddy, for being on here tonight. You have one donation to put in, and then Mom can jump in and help out. Thank you, Paul Rivera. Love Ethan and Mom Spot, $21.10.
Bye, guys.
Yep, Ethan's tired. You can see him over there. He's falling asleep. Ethan, thank you so much for coming on, buddy. We
Good
love
night,
you.
Ethan.
Welcome.
Take care, buddy.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, Leeroy.
So
bye.
I do love the fact that he has a point. Thank you, buddy. Pound it. He has a point, and the point is this: is that I don't think cussing is as big a deal as people try to make it out to be. Because I've listened to Megyn Kelly lately. She's cussing a lot. I've listened to Dave Rubin, cussing a lot. And a lot of people are just fed up. They want to be Christians, but there are times you need to put up shields. There's times you need to pick up and turn plowshares into swords. And I think we are now truly seeing a battle between good and evil. And I don't know if I bought it 4 years ago, but my God, the things that I've seen over the last 4 years, there is no doubt in my mind this is a battle between good and evil. And there is one side who is most assuredly evil in this fight. And I hate to say it, I can no longer make the distinction between liberals, Democrats, and leftists. I just can't. Because they're allowing these things to happen in their party. I never thought I would ever hear that gang members were protected over American citizens, that people would root for criminals before cops, that people would burn down neighborhoods. This isn't me. So here's why I'm a Zionist. I just want to make sure I give you the reasons. Number one is really the biblical and theological practices of the Jews. They've been on this planet for much longer than anyone else as a collective religion. 3,200 years. The history goes back so far, but these historical truths are based in Christian leanings. So if you say you're a Christian and you follow Christianity, then it's very hard for me to understand why you would not have respect for the Jewish people. And I understand people say, oh, well, they betrayed Jesus. Yes, but that doesn't negate the fact of the ones that predated and came before them and the ones that have come after them. Well, they've been expelled from 187 different countries. Yes, and that should explain why that this type of rhetoric is dangerous. Because when you have a religion like Catholicism and Christianity, which is the second largest religion on the planet, and you have a book that says that these people will inherit the earth, but it also says that they're the chosen ones, but also says they betrayed Christ, that creates a lot of animosity and hate. And then you take the first largest religion in the Muslim religion, who find the Jews to be a direct threat because of their claim on the Holy Land. These things are and create dissension and anger and hatred towards the Jews. We have a moral responsibility to protect them, because as Christians, we have to reject the efforts to destroy Western civilization in the Middle East. Because what we know is when Western civilization falls, so does the earth. We know that when Western civilization falls, so does the earth, because it is written. Leeroy, go ahead.
There was a really awesome quote that I keep bringing up every couple of weeks, and it goes like this: "The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he did not exist." Now, you play that forward, and we start looking how that divides into political parties, something that Matt was already talking about. What was the basic Democrat platform this last election cycle? Well, it was pro-open border, it was pro-abortion, and it was anti-faith in a lot of ways. And I'm not saying 100%, but you go back 5 minutes in our broadcast and you see what that guy was talking about. I can't remember his name, the guy in the truck, where he said that
Misfit Patriot.
That was an awesome video. But something that he hit on there was that, look, we're not saying that if you're 100%, in agreement with this, you could only be 85%. It's like saying that was his one black friend comment. This is the same thing, that the anti-faith, pro-abortion, and pro-open border movements are movements that are growing inside the Democrat Party. And to Matt's point, if you are a if you come from a a Christian type of faith here in the United States, that runs counter to everything that the Democrat Party, not everything, but 85% of that the Democrat Party has been advocating for the last 10 years. And so you're starting to see exactly what Matt is talking about this bifurcation in society of people who are advocating for actual evil acts, hanging on to MS-13 folks and letting them run loose in the streets of New York while killing their babies, right? While bringing in fentanyl, versus the rest of us who are basically saying, no, time out here, folks. We need these laws. We want to get the criminals out. We want to protect our children. We want to protect our families and our way of lives. And so you are seeing that those two arguments play out right now in society. And you're seeing everything that can be done from the left to try and stop Trump, or at least slow him down.
The problem is when you paint everybody with the same brush, you devalue the severity of whatever palette you're trying to create. When you say everyone's a Nazi who follows Trump, well, now we have 73 million Nazis. We're larger than Germany. We are the largest standing army by far. We are the largest Reich or group of people to base their entire modus operandi into racial and ethnic cleansing and theological cleansing. Do you understand what you're saying? That there's 71 million Nazis, 78 million Nazis in the United States. It's such a ridiculous comment.
Right.
I have nothing aligned with a Nazi party. And for anyone to say these things to us and to label us, I'm sorry, if you call me a Nazi in person, you're going to eat your own teeth. Just like if you're going to burn a flag in front of me, I'm coming in. I don't care how many of you there are. I don't care what you've got that I don't have. I'm coming in. And there's certain things you don't do. You don't beat a woman in front of me. You want to call her names, whatever. But the moment you put your hands on a woman, I'm coming in. And there is a certain level of a credo that men have that we are getting really fucking tired of this stuff. And there's only so much we're going to take. Because some of us, not only, we don't call ourselves Zionists, because I don't need another word to express my utter and undying loyalty to freedom. Because that's all Zionism is. I'm about freedom. I'm about the rights of humanity, the God-given and unalienable rights that we possess, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, where every single person on earth is allowed and afforded these things. Yes, even Muslims, but not terrorists. Yes, even Jews, but not people who want to harm Christians. Yes, even the white man, the black man, the brown man, the Jew, the Gentile. It doesn't matter. Woman, man, doesn't matter. Every human being deserves the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but it is guaranteed to nobody. Life and liberty are. The pursuit of happiness is not. And there are people who want to remove life and liberty, which then removes the pursuit of happiness. And those people are my enemy, because if they succeed with the Jews, we're next. Because if you think that we're going to stop 2 billion Muslims once they get a wild hair and realize that the Jews are gone and that fighting each other has solved nothing over 3,000 years, who do you think their next target will be? I'm not going to sit here and say that I am a Zionist. I am going to say that I advocate for freedom and that I believe what happens to my neighbor will eventually happen to me.
You know, you don't have to be a Zionist, though, Matt, in order to understand their plight and to realize that whether or not it falls into a Zionist society, or whether or not we're talking about any group or any people, right, who are being oppressed, who are trying to have their rights stripped from them or have some level of oppression applied to them through bigger groups. You don't have to be a Zionist to understand that those are evil acts, that no, they should be left the hell alone. And if people and countries could learn how to stay the hell in their own courts, right, that the world would be a much better place. And the U.S. isn't innocent of that. We've had our fair share of that. But I would fight that too. I think that there's a lot of times where, this overstepping of certain boundaries has put us in a bad place. I don't want to see Jews oppressed. I don't want to see black people oppressed. I don't want to see anybody oppressed. I want everyone to live their lives happily, we hope.
Yeah. Like I said, I just don't need a moniker. I don't need a moniker. I don't need it because it's already spelled out. Just like I don't need anyone to define the flag. If you support Hamas, you're evil. If you support 91% of Gaza, 91% wants to kill Jews and wants them eradicated from the earth, you support evil. And I feel really bad about the 9%. But unfortunately, it's a sheer battle of numbers. Western civilization is alive in the Middle East for one sliver of island. And it is an island. No, it is not covered by all four boundaries of north, south, east, and west, covered by water. And it's only one coast of it on the west coast is covered by water, but it is most assuredly an island because there is a sea of hate that surrounds it. And they are isolated, they are alone, and they have to be protected. I don't care. Oh, you're just a bootlicking Jew lover. Yes, I am. I now dare you to say it to my face. We had a great conversation. We were doing the photo shoot with Barry Morgenstein. And if you don't know, he's a Jew. Go figure, with a name like Morgenstein. And we just spoke our mind. And I will, with no equivocation, stand with Jews. Because the people who fight against them and the people who talk trash about them are literally some of the most ineffectual, brainless, just trigger-happy douche plows. These people, all they want is to get you to react.
Yep.
They want you to say something stupid. You know what's funny? If you guys go back to a show when Beardson and the Groypers were reaching out to me, they clipped one of my videos. You can go on Twitter and find it. And I said, Jesus was a Muslim. Why would I say that? Why would I say Jesus is a Muslim? Well, think about it. Let's identify what the truth is. And is it true or not? Was Jesus a Muslim?
He was Jewish.
Okay, so he's not a Muslim. So why would I say, knowing what I know and fairly smart guy, would I say, Jesus was a Muslim, guys? Why would I say that?
I'm not sure.
Well, if you have a person who is a Groyper or a neo-Nazi fascist white dick face, what do you think I want them to say? Do you think I want them to correct me? Yes. And what do they have to say? He wasn't a Muslim. He was Jewish. Oh, really? He was a Jew? Then go fuck yourself if you say you're a Catholic and a Christian and you hate the Jews. Because if you hate the Jews, you hate Jesus. And if you hate Jesus, you're not a Catholic. You're not a Christian. So my problem is that they contradict themselves by saying the reason they don't like Jews is because of the Talmud, and in the Talmud, Jesus is in hell in a lake of shit and fecal matter, burning in eternal damnation in the Talmud. And I said, so your whole point is that you believe that the Jews hate Jesus and that's your problem? Yes. Great. How do you feel about him being a Muslim? He's not a fucking Muslim. He's a Jew. Ha! Because they can't handle their own hypocrisy.
No.
And the guy on the video is right about the USS Liberty and the World Trade Center and the dancing Jews. Man, do you know that there were people besides Jews who were also celebrating? Do you know that in Yemen they were firing off AKs into the air? Do you know in Bosnia they were excited when the World Trade Center, bless you. Do you know there were people in China who celebrated? Do you understand that there were people who want the destruction of the United States?
Oh.
So nobody blamed them for the attacks. The Jews, no matter what they do, they will always be blamed for the worst parts of society because they are an easy scapegoat to blame. They'll say, oh, well, they run the porn industry. They're not the only ones who run the porn industry. They were responsible for the Bolshevik revolution. Yes, there were a couple Jews inside the Bolshevik revolution, but there were also Orthodox. There were oligarchs. There were Christians. There were pagans. So to sit here and say that just because there were a few Jews in the Bolshevik Revolution, that's like saying that certain Jews helped the Nazis, and they did, if to save their own skin, that the Jews were the Nazis and they executed and killed and perpetrated genocide against themselves. Your logic isn't logic. You guys just have one problem. Everything you do is a cover-up to demonstrate that you don't hate Jews when you do. Just have the balls to come out and go, the Jews are dirty. I think they're subclass human fucking beings. I think Hitler should finish the job. He's not here, so we should. If he said that, I would at least believe in you. I would at least support your right to say it, and everyone would know who you truly are. But instead, you care about your money. So when Nick Fuentes sits here and goes, oh man, I don't care about my sponsors, and I'm just going to say whatever I want. Yes, you do, because all you're doing is clicking donations for this fucking shit you spew. And now that hating Jews is trendy, you're just a fucking average day player, Nick. Go figure that there's so many more people that hate Jews better than you do. You're a fucking nobody now. Leeroy, go ahead.
When we talk about where hate lands us as a party, as a people, and it doesn't matter what continent you happen to live on, it's affected everyone, right? When you think about what happened during the Great Leap Forward, where China was envious of other countries' financial success, and in response, they tried to manage a group of people and ended up starving a couple 100 million. When you think about the Russian Revolution, which was another situation of one group of unsuccessful people looking at another group of successful farmers and saying it's their fault that we're in the position we're in. We're going to take their stuff. When we talk about the French Revolution, when we talk about Robespierre or the Nazi Party, where they were demonizing Jews, it always comes down to the same couple of reactions, right? It's people who are trying to scapegoat a race and basically say that group is doing better than us and it's their fault. And that's what every big revolution has. It's the impetus to all of them. It's the catalyst for all of these types of revolutions. And in the case of what the left is seeing right now, that's the reason they're bombing Teslas. It's the reason the people will continue to hate Jews, is because they have a level of discipline in them to work and get things right. And it's always the same groups. It's the groups who don't have anything. They don't want to do anything. They feel entitled, and they want to blame somebody else for the predicament that they're in. Every damned revolution is like that.
These guys are going to be so shocked when they find out they have more in common with Nazis than Donald Trump and this movement does, because you guys are labeling other people Nazis and you hate the Jews. You want them out of their homeland. You want to give them land that's not theirs. You want to give it to Gazans, Palestinians. Palestine is not a country anymore. You want the Jews eradicated. You guys are you're not Nazis either. You're just people who are ethnocentric and ideologically entrenched in your theological beliefs. You know, I don't know many gods that want to wipe out entire groups of people. And I think if you could talk to Muhammad and Abraham, if you could talk to Jesus, if you could talk to Brigham Young, or talk to Buddha or Cthulhu or Wiki Waka Woku and fucking Tom Cruise, whatever that alien's called, I think most of them will tell you that wiping out a group, Dianetics, whatever the fuck they are, L. Ron Hubbard. I don't care. But they would probably tell you that, and even Buddha, that wiping out an entire group of people based upon what they believe is not necessarily the best course of action for humanity. But I could be wrong. Senator from Minnesota, Justin Eichorn, or Icom. He's a Republican. We're going to talk about him next. And I don't care if you're a Republican. If you do something like this, you deserve the yard arm. Folks, do me a favor. We're at $104.99. It's 2032. It's going to be a late night again, I can already tell. But please do me a favor. If you have not stopped by thedumbshow.com and donate, please do so. Thedumbshow.com/donate. Be right back.
Join WimKen.com, the social media platform built for free speech and true connection. No censorship, no algorithms controlling your feed, just genuine conversations and a commitment to protecting your rights. Sign up today at WimKen.com and take back your voice. Tell them Matt and the Dumb Show sent you.
180 people on the regular networks, and then we've got another 100 on Rumble and Wimken too. So very nice. JD Stillwell, 1501. Thanks for another great show. JD, thank you. We're breaking 120. We're exactly, because JD likes even numbers and we love him for it, is we are $180 away from our goal. State Senator Justin Eichorn. I'm going to give you his video. I got the hiccups. I'm going to give you the video, and I'll tell you what he did in a second.
Hi, I'm State Senator Justin Eichorn.
I'm Brittany.
I'm William.
I'm Belle. I'm Ben. And I'm Anna.
And it has been the honor of a lifetime to serve Senate District 5 the last 6 years in the Minnesota Senate. I've grown up in Grand Rapids, started my business here, raised my family here, and I will continue to bring our northern Minnesota values to St. Paul. I look forward to meeting folks in the new Senate District 6, and I look forward to earning your vote in November. Hi, I'm State Senator Justin Eichorn.
Interesting. Minnesota Republican State Senator Justin Eichorn was arrested on March 18th, 2025 in Bloomington, accused of soliciting a minor, 16 years old, for prostitution. The arrest occurred after Eichorn attempted to meet someone he believed was 16 years old, who was actually an undercover detective. This incident follows his recent co-authorship of a bill aimed at recognizing Trump derangement syndrome as a mental illness.
Oh, the irony.
Yeah, I would love to get you. Well, I know what I'm going to say. What do you want to, as a father, what do you want to say?
That anybody who solicits a 16-year-old should be locked in a room with that father for a good 15 to 20 minutes prior to any involvement from law enforcement. That's what I would say.
So what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen. Liberals are going to use this and say, see.
Oh, absolutely.
So why doesn't every single senator and state legislature sign a letter condemning this guy, removing him from office, holding an emergency recall and election, and go after this guy with the full extent of law, have Pam Bondi bring up federal charges against him. I'm sure we can find some more things. Give him his day in court, right? Let innocent until proven guilty. That's fine. Go ahead and go after this guy and crucify him in the court of public opinion so they don't have anywhere to go on. But they won't. Trump should come out. Everyone should come out, condemn this guy, crush him, and let the Democrats go nowhere with this. But instead, what they're going to do is they're going to rally in silence. Nobody's going to say shit. And they're going to let this thing blow over. And I think this is why we have a lot of hypocrisy even in our own party.
Oh, I would completely agree with that. And to be clear, I mean, this kind of thing happens all the time. Had that been some other congressman with a D after his last name, every Republican that you know of would be, celebrating almost. Hey, look at this, another idiot, right? Hey, look, this kind of thing happens all the time on both sides. And doesn't matter who it is, when it happens, it needs to be condemned fully. And it would be really refreshing, to Matt's point, if all of the politicians, right, could get behind that common message and say,
Right.
no, this is wrong. And that son of a bitch needs to,
hang.
Once he's been proven guilty,
right.
Once he's had his day in court, needs to hang for it. Yeah.
And
that would be refreshing.
Wouldn't it be nice if Democrats go out and go, we're not going to use this as a political option, but this isn't the way it's going to work. The left is going to use it. And the reason why is because people like Benny Johnson or people like the Krasenstein brothers will go ahead and make a post and saying, see, Republicans, sex trafficking is all a big cover and you guys are the groomers and everything else, versus saying this is a travesty. The police officer should be commended for getting this guy, not putting a minor at risk by doing this sting, and I'm glad we got him. And honestly, we're going to go get some more. And if you are a child predator in this country, you cannot hide behind political party. We're coming after you. Why can't we do it? Because it's not sexy, and it doesn't sell papers, and it doesn't buy votes. AOC has lost her mind. Gosh, man, she looks really good in this video, though. She has given up. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know what to do. Listen to this. I have never heard her. Now she's completely just. So I know she looks great in this video, dude. I'm not gonna lie. She looks smoking hot. But she's never good at putting it all together anyway. And she's a bag of bricks. But I've never seen her so not be able to make stupid comments before. She's really at a loss. Listen to this. This is interesting.
Hey everyone, I'm just popping on, and to be honest, I'm not even sure why I'm popping on right now. Hey everybody, hey everyone, thanks for joining. I mean, hey everyone, I'm just popping on. And, to be honest, I'm not even sure why I'm popping on right now. Hey, everybody. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining. I mean...
So, sorry it looped. So, this went on for, 10, 15 minutes of her not knowing what to say. And here's the thing. You just labeled Elon Musk as a Nazi, racist person who was shipping people out. And now he's a hero. Elon Musk just reached out like the hand of God and rescued 4 people from the confines of space that were abandoned and neglected by Joe Biden and the Biden administration for almost a year. Found out openly that they would not let Elon go up there. Elon had 200 recovery missions that were just also refuelings to the ISS, the International Space Station, and tests that were all successful. I mean, this was pretty much like going over and picking up a burger at the local, Burger King for him. This isn't his new rocket, the Falcon rocket. Those things are in beta. Those things are being tested. Those are trial and error. But doing recoveries, launching up a rocket, hooking up with the ISS and coming back down is about as child's play as it gets for this guy. This guy's now reverse catching rockets with metal toothpicks and chopsticks, for God's sakes. Okay? This guy simultaneously landed 2 rockets on terra firma in reduced flight fall. Forget about it. They don't know what to do. The Democrats have no leadership. Hakeem Jeffries is dumb as a frickin' post. He's finally been exposed. Schumer, they're calling about putting AOC to replace as minority leader. She has a 10% approval rating out of all Democrats to take over the position. Bernie Sanders has a stronger approval rating than Kamala Harris to take over the party. What the fuck is happening with the Democrats, dude? And is it just going to be that Elon Musk and Trump single-handedly destroy the Democrat Party? Because I talked about this last night. It's the 80-20 rule. Donald Trump only tackles 80-20 topics. Things like late-term abortion, things like gun confiscation, things like drug use, securing our border, homicide and kids and suicides. He takes the 80% and then the Democrats bite like hook, line, and sinker and immediately take the opposite side, which is the low hanging fruit, unpopular opinion. And they're looking like complete asshats, dude. Are they going to destroy this or what?
You know, well, first of all, with regard to AOC's video, which was bizarre, and she's certainly, easy on the eyes. I'll say that. But here's the thing: for as much hate and criticism as we have heard from the left about how Donald Trump loves to see himself in social media and abuse that platform, isn't that what AOC is doing as well?
Right.
Why don't we ever hear the same level of criticisms aimed towards that? It's only ever at Trump, never AOC. Isn't that interesting? With regard to how much ground the Democrats have lost, and we talked about this back a couple weeks ago, last month, where Donald Trump has really soaked in to the voting base of a lot of middle America. There were a lot of things that were kind of wishy-washy for moderate Americans. Things like abortion, things like the economy, things like, unemployment rates or whatever the case was, illegals, right? To your point, that 80-20 rule, Trump has really kind of taken that and removed those arguing points from the left, from the Democrats, simply because they hate him so much. And because they hate him so much, he could say, oh, illegal immigration is bad, and people lose their minds, right? But by them losing their minds, right, the more rational, the moderate Americans are listening to that going, yeah, illegal immigration is bad. And it's just pushing the left further and further left into these crazy corners. Like what we were talking about before, about how the Democrats have become like this pro-abortion, anti-faith, pro-open border kind of stance. That's because Trump has pushed them into those corners. I think it's a brilliant tactic. I hope he keeps it up. I really do.
I think there's a catalyst coming. And I think the left has never faced what they're about to face. They've always faced people on even playing ground. And what I mean by that is people with decorum or political savvy. The esteemed congressman from Kentucky, Dan Bongino ain't that. Pete Hegseth ain't that. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, RFK. These people do not have that level of decorum. They are all Donald Trump. And what Donald Trump has done successfully, which has literally put people just like him in power. So now the left try to attack Trump, but they have got 27 foot soldiers that are right there from his cabinet ready to stand up and start lobbing freaking mortars over at the other side. And now you're facing 28 Donald Trumps. Here's an example with Dan Bongino, which I absolutely love. Folks, we are close to calling it quits. Honestly, I'm not feeling too well tonight. So I might be trying to get out at 9 o'clock. So if you plan on donating to the show, now's the time. Because I don't know how much later I'm going to be on. Here is, and then we'll watch the space touchdown here in a second. Here is Dan Bongino. This is gorgeous. 3 minutes and 56 seconds of pure, unadulterated love.
I do like him.
Hear me back there? Great. Fantastic. Listen, let's just get right to the point. This was an apocalyptic security failure. A man was murdered in front of his family. 3 people were shot on live television, including President Trump, and the head who came within 2 millimeters of having his head explode on national television in front of millions of people. There's no sugarcoating it. It's no time for BS. Unfortunately, as Congressman Crane and Mills both indicated, the story seems to have been vanquished to the phantom zone, the media coverage. It's amazing how we're still talking about JFK's assassination, but nobody seems to want to talk about President Trump being shot in the head on national television, despite the fact that we have no answers. So I have 5 minutes, so I want to keep it quick, and I want to make 3 points. I worked in the Secret Service for 12 years. I loved it. I worked with some really amazing men and women who gave everything. I mean, a couple of them literally gave everything. I know guys who've gotten bizarre diseases overseas, like chikungunya fever and protection operations. Everybody gave a little bit of something in the Secret Service, and it was a real honor to say I was part of it. But they have 3 institutional problems, I believe, in the macro will help us get to the bottom of how this Secret Service apocalyptic failure won't happen again. First, they have a technology problem. The joke in the Secret Service, which is just sadly no longer funny when I was there, and it wasn't funny then either, is they rely on yesterday's technology tomorrow. Think about that. Yesterday's technology tomorrow. Everything from computer systems at waste agents' times, filling out time and attendance records they were doing, to Congressman Crane and I discussing the fact that they only implemented slings, a technology as old as the wheel, about, 5 or 6 years into my time in the Secret Service, which is embarrassing. The weaponry was old. Everything was old. These are things I would have talked about sooner if they didn't create a security crisis, and I obviously didn't want to air them publicly. Now you're seeing what happens when you don't have a drone up at a site you could have bought for $39.99 on Amazon. Second, another adage in the Secret Service, you've heard even the new acting director discuss, is the more with less approach. There is no more with less. There's less with less, okay? The Secret Service more with less approach only works if you produce more. That's how capitalism works. You produce a flat screen TV that was probably 20 years ago, $10,000. It's $200 at Walmart now. They produce a better TV with less. That's not what the Secret Service did. They produced less with more. They were given more money and produced less. A 20-year-old criminal outsmarted them on a $40 drone technology piece of device. You're telling me that's more with less? That's disgusting. That's nothing with less. That's less with more. Their budget went up. You guys know you're appropriators. You know that. Third, and I'll wrap it up with this, turn it over to Mr. The investigative mission, the Secret Service, that they're telling you they need to make them better agents is total crap. That's garbage. Their agents are talented, smart people. They can figure out how to do protection without running out cheap $20 counterfeit notes at 7-Eleven on a Friday night while the president's getting shot in the head. How is it we have a DEA, we have an FBI, we have TIGTA, the IRS, CBP, and 1,000 other entities with a $6 trillion budget, which I know a lot of you guys have been fighting against this grotesque spending. $3 billion goes to the Secret Service, and we're wasting time running out counterfeit notes. It's a serious problem, counterfeiting. Granted, it might be a legacy item. They started doing counterfeiting.
Have Treasury do it.
Get rid of the investigative mission, turn it over to other people, let them do what they do best and should do best. Protection. Thanks a lot for your time. Thank you for doing this. Thanks to the panelists as well and everyone attending. Appreciate it.
I can only hope. I would love it. Listen, there's one dream that I have. I don't want to be a politician. I have no desire. I've been a politician. I was a VP for retail, corporate, for 3 companies. I already was a politician. But I will tell you, I want to be called before Congress to testify on something, operational security, human intelligence, counterintelligence, something about the military. Judy Gurley, because Ethan is adorable, isn't he?
He sure is.
But that's what I want to do. So I can, with all respect, for the 200, almost 300 people on right now, so I can tell all of them to go fuck themselves in spades, just like Dan Bongino did. Now, Dan was very respectful, but he was talking directly to people who needed to hear it, and he was confirming the biases in the room who already knew it. And there is something very magical about going in there with no fluff, with no pomp and circumstance and telling them what they need to hear versus telling them what they want to hear. It's a gift that few possess. And I will say it's something that I believe that although I am verbose, as Leeroy will tell me on a drive after a very long day, I'm verbose for a reason. $21.10, Brian Moody. Thank you, Brian. Leeroy, your thoughts on Dan Bongino, what he had to say? And
I absolutely adore it. I think that the biggest thing that should have been taken away from that is that all of the bureaucracy, all of the red tape behind the Secret Service, behind the FBI, behind all law enforcement measures that we kind of rely on to keep our politicians safe, to keep anybody safe, was circumvented with a $40 drone and a little bit of willpower. So what the U.S. government needs to do is to get off their ass, start spending the money a little more wisely, and realize that threats like that are out there. And if we can, and Trump has already done a lot of this, right? He's kind of peeled away from this idea of DEI over meritocracy. And if we can get back to a place in government where we're spending our money smartly, right? And leveraging talent over political kind of paths, right? Because they sound good. That we might be able to get back to that point. And his point was not lost on me. I understood and loved every word of what he was saying. It was a heavy criticism for the heavy bureaucracy of government. And it was supposed to be a wake-up call to say, look, a person with motivation and a couple of bucks in their pocket can purchase things that the government just won't touch right now. And we need to figure out how to protect our people better.
There's one thing. All right. So Leeroy comes into my house. First 5 minutes he's in my home. What's the first thing I do?
So we walk in, he introduces me, and immediately we go to every potential room where I might be standing at some point. Right. And he says, oh, by the way, there's a Glock behind that couch cushion. There's a Sig Sauer over here tucked in this corner. And it was like that in every potential room where I may have been.
And then, of course, Leeroy makes a comment like that sticks with me because he has a chance to get into my craw. See, when I care about people, they can say things and it stays with me for days. And I hate it. I hate it. But if I care about you, that's what I do. So on the way home, I've mentioned it twice now, he said I was verbose, which basically means I talk too much. It stuck with me. I didn't like it. It pissed me off. And then when I showed him the firearms, and then maybe that's what he's trying to do, but it's not going to change me. MKSTN from Rumble Chat donated $20. Thank you, MKSTN. And the other thing was, we went to my backyard and he's like, show me where the landmines are. And that also. But I think upon reflection, after what he just said, now he understands why.
Yeah.
I
understood it.
Right. Well, let me throw this out here. The reason why is because I have never lost that edge. And I never will. Because I was violated as a child twice. I was violated as a high schooler from physical abuse from a mother and father, a mental abuse from both, and also from my peers in school. I was abused by the ground as it came up and rushed at me at between 27 and 29 miles an hour and destroyed my body. I was abused by myself with medicine and being a glutton for food. I abused those around me with my attitude and my voice and my hatred and self-loathing and let it impact my family. And now there are people who are trying to harm me and my family and friends and loved ones. And the moment that he walked into that house, I was going to ensure that anything that tried to hurt me didn't have a chance to hurt him. Because I carry that load. I carry the death threats. I'm the one who's talking to the sheriff's department in 3 counties because of the things that are happening. So first one, I didn't care about. And the reason I brought that up specifically is that One of them I'm aware of, and I have a chance and opportunity to help him understand what my focus is to make that process, whatever he's trying to cope with, a little bit easier to swallow. And the second one, I don't give a shit. Because I am who I am, and I will never apologize for it. I'm verbose because I have fucking something to say. And it's not Leeroy's didn't hurt me because he's my friend and I love him. But he has the opportunity to hurt me if I allow him to. So I have a choice. I can either take that feedback and let that bomb go off inside me and destroy me and upset me, or I can use it, tear it apart, break it down, and use it for something more productive. I chose the latter. And I chose to not let it bother me, but take it as a positive thing because it's needed. Now, Dan Bongino is giving them that feedback that they need to hear. And they have a choice to make, to take it and use it and build something productive and realize that this guy knows his shit, or subsequently tell him to fuck off. But you better be careful when you do that, because you put yourself at jeopardy, you put those around you at jeopardy, and the moment that you aren't frosty and the moment that you aren't aware, people will take advantage of you and they will exploit that weakness. And that's what that kid did. Those guys stood down in their head and they gave up the number one credo that they have, which is to protect at all costs. They let that go. That's my whole point.
I think something else that Bongino, a brilliant maneuver on his part, by the way, by saying it and saying it so directly, right? Then in the future, if those security measures don't get addressed, should something happen, God forbid, it doesn't matter on either side, right? But God forbid it's a Democrat, right? Where somebody tries to take a pot shot at somebody else, right? Then Bongino could say, hey, I fucking told you, right? And he can be that direct, and it will at some point, it's like taking that person, shaking them, smacking them around and saying, see, I told you that could happen. Now, what are you going to do? Right. And he's setting this shit is chess. And that was a huge move because nobody on either side would say, yeah, you're right. You're like, or no, you're wrong. We're just going to continue to enforce our security measures the way we see fit. And we're going to keep things a little bit light. That would be the dumbest thing for a politician to do.
I love how he started it out. This was an abysmal Secret Service failure. Good. If Dan would have said anything other than that, everything he said that came after that, or was posthumous from that statement, would have been completely a waste of time. But I love that he took ownership. He wasn't even there. And that's what a leader does. Dan Bongino is an amazing human being. Sometimes he can be a little bit emotional. So can I. He's passionate. He's driven. He's smart. And if you need to know anything else about him, he just gave up $20 million a year to make barely anything as FBI deputy director. Okay? By the way, Vince Colonnese is somebody I know. I've met Vince probably 10, 12 times. He does the radio for WMAL out here. And I know his station because I bought advertising from him and I've got to speak to him many times. In fact, one of his producers was very interested in having me come down and try out for a weekend show for WMAL. But because he found out that dummies are our nicknames and I would not stop saying Dumb Nation, he said that wouldn't fly on his radio network. And I said, I'm not going to fly on your, if you're worried about that, then I'm not good for your show. But the point is, I know Vince. He actually asked me about my podcast setup and my set. Actually wrote me and asked me several times about what audio equipment I was using and said, your studio at home sounds better than my stuff at the station. He's a good man. He's smart. He's intelligent. He's not going to cut the teeth like Dan Bongino is. He beats around the bush a little bit sometimes and he rides the fence. He's not Dan, but he's a good host. I'm thinking about reaching out to him. I really would, because I know him well enough where if I email him, I know he'll get a response. I'll get a response. But Vince Colonnese is a good dude. and he supported 20 some odd roof builds for us. And he's a good guy. So I'm kind of excited for him. I really am. He's definitely done his time in the ranks, but this is what goes to show. He went from a DC, Baltimore, Maryland. Deborah Boggs. Thanks for all you do. Ethan's paycheck, 1776. Thank you, Deborah. But he did his time in the gutters, man. And running DC radio, he was very popular. He also did some time working with the Daily Wire and Matt Walsh and those guys and Mike Knowles. But he did his time, and he got picked up, so good for him. I will not get into politics, ever. I will not. I can't. I can't. My history will destroy me. The drug use, whether it was medicine for recover or not, doesn't matter. The way I treated people during those times, it won't go well. And I won't apologize for what I did. I'll never say I'm sorry for it because it made me who I am. But I also have a mouth that isn't good for politics. I'll get in trouble. It's not good for my constituents because honestly, I think my constituents are too stupid. I have to represent most of my constituents. 60% of them have an abnormal and below IQ. I don't have any desire to represent those people. And I know that sounds pig-headed and egotistical, but I don't want to represent stupidity. Sorry. And I don't want to make decisions for people. I'm not the guy that goes into politics. I'm the guy that makes politicians better. And I want a politician to inspire me. I want someone like Glenn Youngkin because my daughter wants to go work for him.
Aw.
Yeah. 14 years old, and she's committed to go work for Glenn Youngkin if he runs for president in 2028. So I am better at helping people understand, like Brandon Michon. Brandon, I was never officially on Brandon's campaign, but he used me as counsel. He ran counsel. He ran ideas by me. He ran platforms by me. He ran press briefings and how he was going to respond to things. And we had a very close relationship. I'm good at that. I'm good at running a campaign. I'm not a good person to be a politician. Maybe some other time. Leeroy, sorry,
No. I think that there's a common theme in there. Many months ago, I had a debate with somebody where we were talking about politics, and it was on a car ride. And he was an obvious, like, kind of left-leaning kind of guy. And he basically asked me, and this is where this ties directly into what you were just saying, Matt. He basically tried to fish hook me into a debate where he asked, well, what would you do if you were king for a day? And that's the same as being a politician in a lot of ways. You just got done saying you didn't want to make any decisions for anybody. And I really feel like that sometimes that's what politicians do, right? The left-leaning ones, and even some of the right-leaning ones. But ultimately, at the end of the day, a good politician will only fight for your liberties. They will fight against their own interest to keep the government out of your life.
If you're conservative. Listen, Thomas Massey is not fighting for you. He's fighting against Trump. Because he voted for plenty of hits and drone strikes with Obama in office and with Biden. And he didn't say anything. Now he's saying that any type of intervention against Iran is a declaration of war. That's funny. You didn't say that against Ethiopia. You didn't say that against Somalia. You didn't say it against Bosnia-Herzegovina, Syria. You didn't say it against Egypt. You didn't say it against the drone strikes in Morocco. It's funny, Thomas Massey didn't say that anything. The only times you say it is with Trump. So what I want from, you know who I want as a politician? Eli Crane. Eli Crane isn't the smartest. Eli Crane is not the most poised. He doesn't clean up as well as others. But Eli Crane represents his constituency to a fault. And he will never betray them. And the only thing I lament is that I haven't talked to the guy in 2 years, and I desperately want to catch up with him. But he's busy. He doesn't have time for some guy like me. Maybe someday he will. Or maybe it's just a matter of that he gets so many messages that he hasn't really seen it. And we, in our own mind's eye, we have the ability to self-deprecate. And I have to consider the words that he said to me, that he still means them. He just doesn't know I'm, need to get a hold of him. But I really would love to bring Eli on and just show you how much he's grown, because he has now learned how to adapt and improvise. And he has learned to ignore and override Washington. He's very good at it. We're on our final approach, $199. We're $100 away. Need that juice. Be right back.
The Dumb Show is built on real conversations, raw, unfiltered, and fearless. Big Tech didn't like that. Facebook pulled our funding, tried to shut us down. But for over a year, you, our incredible viewers, have kept us going.
And
Your
Splashdown,
support,
Crew
your
9.
donations, your time, it all matters. Most of you spend 10 plus hours a week with us. Compare that to Netflix, maybe 5 hours a month. We believe we're worth that time, and we hope you do too. But listen, we don't want giving to feel like a burden. We want it to feel good. So take a second to ensure you're in a good spot. If you're in a place to give, that will be amazing. If not, just liking and sharing helps more than you know. Visit thedumbshow.com/donate. Whether it's PayPal, Venmo, or mail, every bit helps to keep us going. Dumb Nation, we appreciate you more than words can say.
So, Elon Musk, they bring people up to the International Space Station. They park 4 people up there. They were supposed to be back in just a short period of time. And there was an error on their recovery vehicle. So they sent it back down to Earth and nothing happened and everything was fine. Seems pretty stupid to me. And they were stranded. No secondary plan of retrieval, except let's wait. And it's almost like the effort was not there to get these people rescued. I mean, it's ridiculous. If I was them, I'd be reaching out to them every minute of the day going, hey, how long is this going to take? So it took Donald Trump and Elon Musk 45 days to bring Americans home. They seem to be doing this a lot. I have the video for you. I've got a bunch of video for you, but I figure we could watch together and watch this heroic event.
And Splashdown, Crew 9, back on Earth.
And SpaceX Freedom, Splashdown. Good main release.
Copy Splashdown. We see main chutes cut. Nick, Alex, Butch, Sunny, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
4+1, because you have to have your pilot. And I don't know if they were qualified or checked off in the vehicles for Elon Musk. Here is a little bit of a longer
That was
video.
a live view from our recovery vessel, Megan, which is stationed a couple miles away from the splashdown site. We can see the crew there using their restraints as resting places for their arms. They were just in space moments ago, so their arms were able to float freely.
As somebody who has jumped on round chutes plenty of times, that is one of the most controlled free falls and smooth landings I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, these chutes that they're using. Nobody probably thought you could reinvent the round chute, but they have each individual inflatable pockets, which make their lift and drag coefficient like 1/8 of a regular standard round chute. They're ridiculous. Look at this. I mean, look at the glide.
This is a gorgeous bluebird day here that we have.
Look at the lift it's getting. It's getting lift.
For the splashdown of Crew 9. It's incredible to think that the Dragon capsule just minutes ago was going over 17,000 miles per hour and now gently coasting to a soft splashdown.
200.
It's actually
Copy, 200 meters.
gliding.
Brace for splashdown.
That's incredible.
You got, anybody who's done round shoots just knows.
As you can
that this
see there
is,
on your screen, continuing to monitor progress of the Dragon spacecraft.
I mean, you're doing 12, 13 feet a second. 299.96. Oh, holy shit. We're 4 cents off. Who sent it in? Who did it? I missed it. My window closed. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. Guys, who did it? Joanne Lootman, $100. Joanne, I'm sorry it didn't pop up. We didn't. What? Homecoming for the astronauts. Thank you, Joanne, for the $100. You're the best. Sorry, I didn't see it. And I didn't want to get yelled at by Olivia.
And we're going to stand by for Splashdown, located in the Gulf of America.
I love that, Gulf of America.
Off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida.
Watch this splash, dude. Nothing.
Yeah.
Have you ever jumped over water?
No.
Oh God, yeah. So watch this.
And Splashdown, Crew 9, back on Earth.
Nothing.
A little cool.
Nothing.
Like a little bobber. Yeah.
It looks like a marshmallow. So
an amazing.
There was some other news reports that suggested that right after that, as the boat came out to go get the astronauts out of there, that a pod of dolphins kind of greeted everyone. Yeah.
What will be used to...
Go ahead. I got the video. Go ahead. Tell them.
That there was a bunch of dolphins that were in there kind of greeting everyone and checking everything out to find out what all the activity was going on. You can see them right there on the left-hand side, just dolphins hanging around. That's amazing.
There's 3 of them right here.
Lift the Dragon capsule out of the water and onto the recovery vessel. Wow, we got a cute little pod of dolphins. It wasn't just 1 or 2.
I mean, that water just looks beautiful. We had ideal splashdown parameters today. Obviously, wave height, ne'er a concern. The weather is beautiful, as Jaden mentioned, in the 60s, sunny. Looking forward to seeing Crew 9 exit the capsule here shortly once they get hoisted onto the recovery vessel Megan.
We can see that recovery vessel slowly but surely closing the distance there between... Oh, dolphin cam back again. We can see that the Dragon capsule and the recovery vessel, that distance is closing. Again, this is just one more step as we continue to work recovery operations.
There were some jackasses who are like, it's all fake. Oh, enter the dolphins. How completely, random. And these people, that you're idiots. The flat earthers, the moon landing didn't happen. Okay, you guys are morons. 17,000 miles an hour in free fall. I don't know if I heard that right. I'm going to check the biometrics on this here and see what it says as far as its speed.
Well, 17,000 miles an hour, it might have been from orbit. That's typically in low Earth orbit. That's what ground speed would indicate from something in Leo. So 17,000, like 200 miles an hour is what's needed to keep something in orbit. Right?
Without skipping off the atmosphere.
But as it enters through the atmosphere, then that speed should change quite a bit. And I know that I remember hearing that, like, as the space shuttle used to descend, that it would hit speeds of like Mach 25. I don't know what that translates to, but it's faster than my car.
Really freaking fast. Mel Lowe donated $10.80. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. Always looking to hit that. Let's go ahead and see what it says.
Boys, this view coming from the WB-57 high altitude plane. And there you see it on your screen, drogue deployment.
Drogue descent rate nominal.
You can hear the crowd here.
Visual on 2 healthy drogues.
So obviously that's enough drag.
Crowd here very excited.
Wouldn't be a comfortable landing, but enough to not kill them. So that applause with 2 shoots is saying, okay, they're going to survive. With 4 shoots, they're going to survive comfortably. So to me, that's what that says. I could be wrong, but deploying the chutes is a good thing, because if they don't, yeah, they're not going to be happy.
As Dragon Freedom continues to make its way back to planet Earth.
Those might be drag chutes.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't think those are. I think those are drag. Those are drag chutes. Those don't look like full chutes.
Next up, we'll stand by.
So those are drag chutes. Those aren't main. Those are drag chutes. That's to slow it down to a speed where they can deploy round chutes. Because if they deploy round chutes right now, they will rip. They'll just tear. They won't envelop. They'll just rip right off the aircraft. So these are drag chutes to slow it down to a speed that they can deploy. That's my guess from doing enough of that shit. Let's find out.
For the main deployment of the parachutes.
There it is. Yeah.
The mains are quite a bit larger. You'll be able to notice the difference on your screen once they deploy, and they continue to ensure that the Dragon spacecraft slows down even further. As we mentioned, Freedom will be traveling 16 miles per hour when it splashes down off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida, here at 2:57 p.m. Pacific time this afternoon. And there we go.
We have visual on 4 healthy mains.
4 healthy mains.
That view was from inside.
Freedom copy.
Now, what's happening here is very similar. If you ever watched any of the pallet drops that happened in Gaza, these now have to envelop and take in air. The problem is that they're all struggling to fill up on the same amount of air pushing up to the parachutes. So they have to catch. So the pull of weight going down, it has to slow down to a certain speed for those to go ahead and envelope and branch out. And they should do it roughly at the same time, which is very cool. So watch what happens here. They're already filling up with air, but they have not spread out and fill up the canopy completely, which you should see here once they reach that optimal speed.
That view was from inside one of the buckets where.
Oh, we don't get to see it, but you can already see it happening. See how this one is dragging a little less, and so these two. So once this fills up, it's going to slow down considerably, and then poof, poof, these will hit. But what happens on some of those pallets that they launched into Gaza is that you saw that like when only one chute deployed versus the two, and they would just go down as death rockets, essentially, giant, like throwing Volkswagens down at people from high altitudes. So. Leeroy, your thoughts on the mission, your thoughts on Elon Musk, and just how amazing this is for America today, right?
Yeah, God love them. And those astronauts, they were stuck up there for, it was like 120 plus days. Is that right?
Oh, it was a year. It was a year.
Oh, and I know they were originally only supposed to be up there for like, it was like less than 2 weeks, right?
Right. It was a 3-hour tour.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
So for Elon and capitalism to have pulled through when the government couldn't bring them back safely, that is a huge win. And I'm not just trying to say that just to, kind of pump up the idea of free enterprise, but essentially that is what got these guys home. Just an amazing feat, and thank God those guys are back home safely.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of people are like, well, do we think NASA went bankrupt because of Democrats? No, I think NASA went bankrupt because there was no private industry competition. And government control and all private industry autonomously are bad for any economy, but working in a cohabitated environment, cohabitating, living together and working together is better for the economy. Yep, word was wrong. 236 days for an 8-day tour. Yeah, so almost a year. That's incredible. So we'll split the difference. You said 100, I said 365. It's 236. We'll call it good. We were both right, both wrong. This next video I want to show you, and then we're going to end on this. We always keep hearing about all the dangers of drone technology. I'm going to show you something that is just stunning. I don't know if you guys have seen this. If you have not had a chance to finish up donating, do it now, because we are gone right after this. Like I said, I'm not feeling too good. So if you have the ability and want to okay, Bobby Richardson, just because 103.48. Bobby, we love you.
God love you, man. Bobby.
Bobby's amazing. I talked to her today. We're making her some special shirts, and we got some autographs to do. So I'm going to send you some product and a photograph or 3. So here is this video, and this is so cool. Watch this. Enjoy it, guys and girls. This is good. Good news. 289 days. See, I thought it was just shy of a year, so I want to check this. See, I thought it was closer to 365. So let's take a look at that. Anyway.
That's so cool.
Yeah, drones are neat. You should see what China is doing. That's small. China put up like 15,000 of them simultaneously, and it was terrifying. But that's pretty cool. I thought it was pretty neat. If you haven't seen the China one, you should Google it and look it up. Leeroy, you get last word, my friend. I appreciate you being on the show. I want to thank everyone who donated and making it a great night for us. I got to figure out why the goal isn't showing up each time. I got to refresh it. But you get your 1 minute, buddy. Go for it.
Well, now's as good a time as any to just kind of hash over what verbose actually means. And in my vernacular, all it meant was that it is somebody who uses a lot of words, and it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing or a good thing. Certainly, it wasn't intended to be bad. So if that's how it was received, those are my apologies. To me, it was just somebody who uses words, many words, to hash over a situation or to describe something. That is one of those things that I am not gifted with. Oftentimes, I can be, but it has to be with something that is within my wheelhouse, and that's not a very big wheelhouse. I'm not an expert in very many things. I will say that the few things that I am well versed with, I can drone on with those. But Matt seems to have a much bigger grasp on a lot of different topics. So that's what that meant to me.
Yeah.
And that being said,
I fucked up because that's not the way I meant you to take that. So that wasn't me. That was a reflection on my own insecurities, not what you said. My point was how you take it is important. And I could have taken that a different way. And the way I took it is, well, I'm not going to fucking change. This is who I am. And that didn't come out the way I wanted it to. So that's my fault. So if you took it that way, I apologize. No, wait, don't say that. If I made you, if I said it in a way that made you feel like I was saying a negative, that was so not my intent. I apologize because that wasn't my goals. Okay.
And beyond that, I will say that last weekend was one of the best weekends I had in a really, really long time. I got the fortunate opportunity to meet some really incredible people, and that was an amazing experience. So thank you, Matt, for helping set up our photo shoot with Barry Morgenstein, and for allowing me to hang out with you and your family, for entrusting me into your home. And Amy was so cool. And so is Olivia.
Awesome.
So are your 2 kids. Yeah. And you live in a beautiful area, and I hope to come get back there at some point.
Yeah. So I totally fucked that up. So I apologize. That wasn't my intent. I didn't want you to take that personal. It was more of, I don't know how I said that, but I'm going to go back and listen to it. And I'm sure I said it incorrectly, because my whole goal was, like, once you have somebody like that who you trust, you're able to listen to what they have to say and either take it, use it, and lose it, and not let it like fuck you up and let it bother you, because it's like calling somebody, They have enough callousness not to let things bother them. That's not a compliment, right? You're saying you're callous. But if you take it like that, what they're saying is you built up scar tissue and you use it in a way that's productive. So it's how you process the feedback from somebody. So when you say I'm verbose, what I meant to say is in my mind's eye, I have the ability to either say, well, fuck you, I am who I am, I'm not going to listen to you. Or I can take it, use it, lose it, and say, well, I do talk too much, but you know what? I'm never going to change. However,
I don't think it's talking too much, though.
Oh, yeah? Because that's what verbose means.
No.
You use a lot of words.
Verbose just means you use a lot of words, not that you're using too many. See what I mean?
No, I think it's a matter of definition, and I think it's how it's been used in your life. My mom used it on me once, and I didn't like it because the way she said it is, you need to shut your fucking mouth. You're too verbose and too overbearing and too domineering in your conversation. So that's probably why I received it that, or could have received it that way. Could have received it that way. It always seems to go back to my mom, doesn't it? I need to secure this shit. I need to take her out.
This goes back to the Dan Bongino thing, right? With the proper feedback, when we're all in conversation about, oh well, this is how this was done. Oh no, this is where it was messed up. This is how it was received versus how it was intended to have been given. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, instead of defining gravity as simply the force that attracts objects towards the center of the Earth, a verbose definition. Oh, I see what you're saying. So the approach ensures a richer understanding of incorporating scientific. Listen, I think once again, I didn't take it that way. I think that's what I was trying to tell you, without me getting into the etymology of why I don't like the word. It's taking it, and I don't know. I screwed it up. That's not what I meant to say.
No, you're fine.
So no, I'm not. Or you wouldn't have brought it up. So don't dismiss it either, because it's a learning opportunity for me to be very conscientious of what I'm trying to say, which was supposed to come off as a compliment. Because the way you talked about me pointing out the weapons in my house could have been a knock, as in, man, this guy's fucking paranoid. But what it came down to it was, you just said it was almost like Matt's taking care of me and protecting me to make sure I'm safe. That is what I was saying. Here's one word, something that I could have taken offense, and I was like, no, I embrace that. Thank you so much. The other one was
a friendly jab. The thing with the landmines, that was a friendly gut punch.
Right, but I didn't take it that. Okay, you're being obtuse. Okay. All right, everybody. Good night. Thank you for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. We love you guys. We appreciate you. We had a great time. We'll see you guys tomorrow. It's going to be myself, Olivia, and Amy Wednesday night. I have 80,000 pages of John F. Kennedy to go through. I'm not going to be able to get to it tonight, but I'll be up till 4 or 5 a.m. I have a lot to read. So we'll talk about some of it tomorrow. I'll find out what I find out. But thanks for watching the show. God bless. If it's your first time watching, please like, share, and subscribe, and come back and see us tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Good night, everybody. Thanks, Leeroy.
Peace out, homies.
Peace. See you guys. Bye.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leeroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.